Hey, thanks guys for joining me this afternoon. I know it's getting a little bit late, so we're gonna do this in 12 minutes. My name's Tom Fenton. I'll be presenting this presentation on is your Horizon desktop available, or using VMware Advanced Monitoring for Horizon, powered by ControlUp Scoutbees to ensure remote asset availability. My name is Tom Fenton. I write for StorageReview.com. I also write for Virtualization and Cloud Review magazine. Kind of my main job is ControlUp, so I do have a vested interest in ControlUp. But in this case, I'm presenting kind of on behalf of VMware and ControlUp, because VMware does sell ControlUp, henceforth the VMware hat. And I used to be a VMware employee, so that's about me. Here's the abstract. This is what we're going to be talking about. Oh, I'm sorry, let me go back there. There's the abstract. You can download a ControlUp from VMware, from their Customer Connect site, and you do get Scoutbees when you do download it. Anyone here using ControlUp? Okay, a few people. Are you using Scoutbees? All right. So I'll kind of introduce ControlUp just a little bit, but I'm going to really focus in on Scoutbees and what it does and what it can provide to you. So first, let's talk about the problem that we had. Past 2-3 years have been pretty crazy. We moved everyone from working in the office to working at home. We gave them a new set of tools. And for the most part, this new set of tools that we're giving them has worked fantastic. You know, virtual desktops, SaaS-based applications. But there's a lot of things that can go wrong, from the physical client that they're connecting to the virtual desktop or application that they're trying to connect to, right? And we need tools to help us identify where the problems are happening and how well those remote assets are actually working. So we worked with VMware to come up with a set of tools, we call it Scoutbees, to go out there and check these remote assets. So you don't get this. You try and log into your desktop, you get a 404. You call up the help desk site and say, hey, I can't get to my virtual desktop. You know, what's the matter with your virtual desktop, or is it me? You're trying to figure out where all this happens. So what we do is do something called synthetic testing, where we have a bunch of hives around the world that go in there and try and access that remote asset, whether it's a virtual desktop, a streaming application, Office 365, pretty much anything you have. And when we can't get it, we can alert you, let you know, or we can set up a webhook, or we have integrations like with ServiceNow that'll open up a support ticket. Let's see what, oh yeah, and so this is what the basic screen looks like. Real easy to understand. You know, this is your latency here. How long is it taking you to get to these assets? How many of you guys use VMware Test Drive? Have you ever used it? One person. If you get a chance, you really need to try it. It's really cool. It's free. And what VMware did is they set up a bunch of virtual machines, and they allow you to log into it. If you want to learn more about vSAN, you can log into it, run some vSAN walkthroughs. Tanzu, Horizon, they have a bunch of little walkthroughs that are free, so you can try it before you buy it. You can also try ControlUp there. They've worked with their partners to do it. So it's really a neat asset. Talk to your VMware SE, they can get you an account. So we're looking at the Windows desktop that is streaming from Test Drive. We have an application here, PowerPoint, a streaming application. And actually they have a vGPU, Workspace ONE vGPU. We're testing all these and seeing how long it takes to authenticate and get through to them, and if they're available or not. You can pick into it, dive in a little bit deeper. We even break it down by a couple different sections, you know, authentication, enumeration, connecting and initialization, and ready. So you can see where you're having the problem, why it's taking so long to get through. I looked for the month of June 2022. We had, you know, 2,700 tests, 270 of them failed. What happened there? We can dive into them, take a look at it. have the graph here for the month. And it looks like they happened, the first week or two of June. So this is also really important because if you have an SLA with a company, at the end of the year, you can get these graphs, present them to them and say, hey, we have an SLA that guarantees 98% availability. We're not seeing it here. Let's talk, let's figure it out, and go from there. But it gives you some real good analytics to use. Real easy to configure. It is a totally SaaS-based application. Just log on to the website and you're up and going. We have these hives, these test locations around the world that you can use because as you'll see, not everything happens the same around the world. So you pick your hive and then you set what kind of test you want to do. In this case, we're going through a Universal Access Gateway, UAG. You could also use security server, a workspace one, what have you. You give them your user identification and then the resource. Click Get Resource and it'll populate it just like your Horizon client gets populated. Choose which one you want to test against and how often you want to test it. 5 minutes up to every hour. And interestingly enough, the username is actually kind of important. When I was getting ready for this presentation, I had a user who was in one Active Directory group, and he couldn't get through, but the other users in other Active Directory groups could. So you can set up different users. Once that's set up, you can set up alerting. How do I want to find out that this is bad? Sure, you could go to the dashboard. User calls up, can't get through. You can look at the dashboard, but it's better to know in advance when things aren't working. So you can get an email, you can add a webhook method to it, send out an alert, or you can link to some kind of integration. Like I said, we have ServiceNow. You can choose what you want to fail on, whether it's the status, fail reason, what have you. Real easy to set up. In 5 minutes, you can be up and going. This is the alert that I got. Said, hey, you know what? This was actually my sales desktops pool was failing. So I got an alert. I click this. It'll take me back to the dashboard. We know that's important. Desktop streaming applications are important, but we also know people use other things. So we can also do networking testing. We can do a ping, traceroute, DNS lookup, HTTPS. Site load's a little bit interesting because it'll just report back. If it was expecting a 404 from that website, it'll report back when it doesn't get that. So a lot of flexibility with this. One of the other neat things we're doing is we know that people use other applications like Microsoft Exchange Online, Azure AD. So we've built scripts to go out there and actually check those and validate that they're up and running. And we have this cool shell execution. Any code you want, any PowerShell code you want, you can go ahead and load it up. It'll run that application from the hives and report back whether that failed or not. So a lot of flexibility there. I love SaaS applications. Their reliability is just fantastic. And the next couple of slides I'm showing you, please don't take it as bashing SaaS-based applications because it took me 2 years to compile 5 slides of failures, right? The first one, when we first got this up and going, we were monitoring Windows Azure AD, right? And in 2020, it did have a failure. This is when we first started deploying the product. We saw this failure, we got alerted. We thought our product was messed up, right? Because that sure never goes down. But in fact, it did have an outage, and we knew about it before anyone else did. And this is the email message that we got. Another real interesting thing that happened is right before I was doing a presentation, I worked with a guy named Rory, and he was monitoring Office 365. He called me up and said, Tom, I can't get to Office 365. And so I said, wait, let me check. I could, but the outages were happening in Europe and Asia, but they weren't affecting the United States. So imagine you're a help desk professional, someone calls you up, what's the matter with my Office 365? You can get to it, they can't, so you start going down one path, when really it is an outage that's only affecting a specific geographical location. And you can choose whichever, or how many hives you want this to run on. We had a Facebook outage as well that we detected. Another, just kind of interesting, there's Rory again. I don't know if many of you guys know Rory. He's a great guy out of Ireland. And he detected it when Facebook went down. Like Test Drive, it's a great resource. We are on Test Drive with this product, and you can give it a try, see how easy, you can look at it. You can't configure your own hives, but you can get an idea how it feels and take a look at the different screens. Let's talk about a few things that are coming soon. Something that I'm really excited about is base images. That's where you take a snapshot once you get into the virtual desktop, and then we compare them, and if there's so much difference, then we'll alert you. So kind of interesting stuff. Application testing. We're doing Teams as well as Azure AD and Outlook. So those are things that we're working on, should be out soon. Yeah, this is the Teams one. What I like about the Teams one is it actually makes a test call, so you can see in a graphic format the actual call, because you don't care how long it takes to get connected. What you really care about is what it does when it's doing it. Final thing is mini hives, and this lets you run the application from a physical endpoint device, so you get all these metrics from what the users are seeing. So we made it through, guys. If you want to know more about it, VMware End Using Computing blog has a bunch of blogs out there by a bunch of different people. You can read up on it. You can stop by the ControlUp booth. You can download it from your Customer Connect. Have a couple of real knowledgeable SEs out there that help you through with it. Have another session tomorrow about MMR. And thank you for hanging around this afternoon and listening. I appreciate it. Oh, and take this.